There's a video online of my mentally ill father having a nervous breakdown. It's been on the internet for well over 10 years now, and in that time, it's gotten millions of views. And now I'm going to tell the story behind that video.
Get in the car! Dad! This is a blast!
So my dad had been mentally ill for several years, and in the video, it was just about a month prior to my 10th birthday, so I was 9 years old when all this was taking place. My dad had really been spiraling, his mental health was really deteriorating, and there's a whole process you have to go through to get someone involuntarily committed to the mental hospital. My mom had started the process of trying to get him involuntarily committed because he would never go on his own. He would never willingly take medicine. He would never willingly go to a therapist. He would never willingly go to the mental hospital. So everything that was done to try to help him was done against his will, really. And unfortunately, it had to be done because without any kind of intervention, he became very dangerous at times. But so she had started the process of trying to get him committed, and he figured out, it wasn't his first round of this. There had been several times that he had been involuntarily committed. So he knew the signs that someone was going through the process of trying to get him involuntarily committed. So he knew that it was coming. He knew my mom was going to try. And just before she got it all finalized to get him forced to go to the mental hospital, he took off. He disappeared. He ran off into the woods. And several weeks went by of him being missing, and he was living off the grid in the woods somewhere, and no one knew where he was or what he was doing. One morning I wake up and my mother and brother are still asleep, and I decided to go out in the living room and watch some television. And the television is like right next to the window. And so I'm watching, and then suddenly I kind of see something in my peripheral. Like I kind of see something move, and I look, and then like straight out of a horror movie right there, I turn and I look, and there is my dad staring at me, and he's watching me through the window. And of course it startled me, and I jumped and I screamed, and my mom heard me, and that woke her, and she came running out, and she sees him there. And so then he came inside. He already knew that she was trying to make him go to the mental hospital. So when he came inside, he goes, "I know you're making me, and I'm ready to go. So, I'm not going to fight you on this. You don't have to call the police. Let's just go to the mental hospital now. You can drive me there yourself." And so she's like, "Let's get ready. Let's get everyone in the van." And he goes, "Well, but wait first. Before you do, I just, the hospital food is terrible. I just want one last good home-cooked meal before I go to the hospital. So I'm not willing to go until you cook me breakfast." Of course, we all knew this meant he was just stalling, and there must be some kind of ulterior motive here, but what can you do? So we just did what he said. So my mom went into the kitchen and started cooking him the breakfast that he wanted. And that's when he told me that he needed me to follow him outside. And mind you, it's almost wintertime. It's very cold out that. And we're standing on the porch, and he starts talking, but again, he's severely mentally ill. He's rambling, and I don't understand anything he's saying. He's just rambling nonsense. I can't even describe it. Just Rebecca, David, at the end of the world, fish tacos, just random stuff, just lines of words streaming in a sentence that made no sense. Of course, he's looking at me like he's wanting a response from me, like he's expecting me to understand what he's saying, and I just look at him with like this like deer in the headlights look, like I have no idea what you're saying to me right now. You're not speaking English, for all I could say. And that got him frustrated that I wasn't going along with what he was saying, and I wasn't nodding and giving him the responses that he wanted. He was expecting me to understand him, but I didn't, and that got him mad that I wasn't understanding him. And so then he got all irate, and he's like, "You're just a rebellious child, and Satan has gotten into you, and how dare you not agree with me?" And so then he went off on getting all angry at me for not going along with whatever he was saying. So like probably 100, 200 feet away from the house, we had this giant metal bowl, and we kept it full of water for the dog to have water outside. And the dog's name was Moose, mind you. So that day, like I said, it was really cold, and he told me we're standing out there on the porch. I just have socks on. He says, "Take off your socks." And By this time, I've been living with my dad long enough to know that when he says to do something, you do it, or else you're going to get a beating. So I don't question him at all. I just do whatever he says. And so he said, take off your socks. It's freezing cold outside. We're standing outside. He wants me to take off my socks. I'm going to do what he says, even though it's really cold outside. I don't want to get a beating. So I took off my socks, and then he made me walk across the yard to where the giant metal bowl was with the water inside. And I have to walk across barefoot, and it's like really cold. Like I noticed that it's like frosty, like there's ice on the ground in different places that I had to walk across. That's how cold it was. So I get to the drinking bowl, and it's like there's like a layer of ice on top because it's so cold out. Like it hasn't totally frozen through, but there's a big layer of ice on top. He made me use my bare feet and to smash the ice off the top. And then he again went on this like rant, and what I can remember of the rant that I could somewhat understand, he said something about, Isaac and Rebecca in the Bible, and how God was going to make me like Rebecca in the Bible, and Isaac had to wash Rebecca's feet. And so then he's like, so now I have to wash your feet like Isaac washed Rebecca's feet. That's the one thing that I like clearly remember him saying that like stuck with me out of everything, all the unintelligible things he was saying. That was the one thing that stuck with me, is that I was supposed to be Rebecca and he had to wash my feet. And then he made me stand inside of the frozen water. The water went up to about my calf. That's how big the bowl was. And so I stepped inside, and I'm like, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. And he gets irate that I'm asking not to do this. And so again, I know, just do it and avoid getting beat. So I stepped inside, and it is painfully cold. It hurts so bad. Like I still can like feel the pain in my feet when I talk about it. That's how cold it was. And so I just start sobbing. I just broke out sobbing and crying out loud and hoping my mom will hear me and come out and help me or something. And he again is just going on his rant about whatever. Then my mom heard me screaming and crying, and she comes out. She's like, come back inside, come back inside. And I did. I just got out and I ran back inside, and she confronted my dad, and I ran inside. Of course, my brother heard all of this commotion, and he came and he got me and he ushered me into another room, and he was real sweet about. He draped a blanket over me, and then he took a hair blow dryer and he put it on low, and he's like trying to help warm up my feet, and I'm still crying, and he's trying to comfort me. And we hear my parents out in the yard screaming at each other back and forth. They're just in this like really heated argument, and my brother's trying to comfort me, and I'm trying to tune it all out, and I'm just trying to appreciate the fact that my brother's being really nice to me at this moment. My mom and dad came into the bathroom where me and my brother were trying to warm up my feet. My mom took the hair blow dryer and she kind of took over, and she's like blowing it back and forth on my feet, and I'm just kind of paying attention to her and paying attention to my feet. And I don't know how much time went by, but then she's like, okay, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I feel better. And then we look up, and I'm like, wait, where did dad go? Where did my brother go? And we realize they were nowhere to be found. And of course, that just sent both of us into a whole new panic of, well, if he was doing this to me, what's he now doing to my brother? And we just start like we're going all over the house, calling out in the yard, like, where'd you go? Where are you? We're calling out for them. My mom breaks down crying, and then she gets on the phone. She calls one of my dad's sisters, and she's telling her, like, I don't know, this is what's happened so far. I don't know what to do. I'm just beside myself. What do? I don't know what to do. And then she's like, oh, hold on. Someone's calling. Someone was calling on another line. And it's my brother, and he's calling from a payphone, and he's like, I'm down by the river. And there was a river probably 5-ish miles away from our house. All that really stuck out to me was my mom say, what do you mean Moose is in a better place now? And Moose was our dog, and I immediately was like, oh no, the dog's gone too. Dad's done something to the dog. And I ran outside hoping maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just heard them wrong. And I go outside, and I'm like frantically looking for the dog. I'm in like a full-blown panic because I know that, my dad has hurt animals in the past. I know that if Moose went to the river with them, then Moose is not coming back. And I loved Moose so much. And so I was like, as soon as I heard Moose is in a better place now, I was like, in denial and panic, and I ran outside and I'm like frantically looking for him. I see our van coming back down the driveway, and my brother opens the door, and he's pale, and he was just completely flat and just like dazed out, and you could tell he had just witnessed something horrible. My dad starts getting out of the driver's side, and my mom comes running out. She's like, "That's it. I'm not waiting any longer. That is it. We are going to the mental hospital right now. I'm not taking this anymore. Not one more second. We're going now." And my dad complied. Sure, he got in the passenger seat, and he's only wearing a robe during all this time. From the moment he showed up at the house to disappearing to coming back with a missing dog, this whole time he's wearing nothing but a robe. So we just, right then, all four, my mom, my dad, my brother, and me, we all get in the car. We start driving to the mental hospital. We're getting a little ways down the road, and my dad's going off on another rant where I just can't understand anything he's saying. And my brother kind of turns to me, and he's still just stone-faced, and he goes, "Dad drowned the dog." I'm just like devastated to hear this, because I loved Moose. Moose was like we had a lot of pets through the years. My dad was always bringing these animals home, and then it was always not long after that he would end up killing these animals. But Moose was the one that I was always able to hide from that. I was always able to shield him from that and keep him alive, and I'd had him for a few years. I was always like hell-bent on, I'm going to protect Moose no matter what. And so when I heard that my dad had killed Moose, I was just like, oh, I failed. I've lost my most precious, the only thing that mattered to me. I've just lost it. I was devastated. And so my dad's sitting in the passenger seat and going off on some rant, and then I don't know where he got it from or how it got there or what, but underneath the passenger seat, he pulls out a video camera. And that's when he says, "All right," and he hands the camera to my brother in the back seat, and he goes, "Okay, you need to start recording." So he made my brother start recording him, and that's when the video that's been online, that's when it starts.
"Hello, bride of Christ. This is your little servant boy, King of America. America's, all the states, all the countries in the world are now states of the United States."
He starts off on some thing about, "Hey, bride of Christ, I'm the King of America." And then as we're driving, he says that he wants to smoke a cigarette, and my mom knows this is just him stalling again. He wants her to pull over so he can smoke a cigarette because he doesn't want to smoke in the van. And she knows that if we stop this van, he's going to get out and he's not going to get back in. And we have to get him to the hospital. He has to be locked up now. He's already killed the dog. He, did this thing with me in the ice water. He's dangerous. We have to get him to the mental hospital now. And him wanting her to pull over to smoke a cigarette, that's just him stalling again. He's probably not going to agree to get back in the car if we pull over. So she was just like adamant, "I'm not pulling over. I'm not stopping. You can smoke when we get to the mental hospital."
Where's my smoke?
And that's when all of a sudden he took off his seatbelt and he opened the car door. We're going 60 miles per hour down the highway, and he opens the door and he hangs out the side of the car.
Get in the car! Dad! Oh. This is a blast!
And he just starts like, "Whoa, this is a blast!" And so of course my brother's like, "I want evidence of this." My brother turned the camera back on and records him hanging out the side of the car going 60 miles per hour. And I remember in that moment, you can hear me in the video. I'm screaming and crying because I'm afraid I'm about to witness my dad throw himself out the car, and I'm about to witness my dad die. I've seen a lot of the comments saying, "Why didn't your mom stop? Why didn't she pull over? Why did she wait so long?" But I remember that moment, I was thinking to myself, "Mom, please keep going. Please keep going. If you can go even one more mile, it makes us one more mile closer to the mental hospital, one more mile closer to being safe from him."
Pull over until I got a place big enough.
I think she was kind of thinking the same thing, because she kept driving as long as she could until he was really about to fall out, and then she pulled over. And so then he's on the side of the road, and that's, cars are driving by, and he goes and he starts opening his robe on the side of the road, and exposing himself.
Oh, it's the most embarrassing dog though.
And you can hear me in the video. I go, Mom, why don't we just leave him here?
How about we just...
Finally, she convinces him to get back in the car, and we continue to drive. We get to the mental hospital, and she's like, all right, we're there. Let's go inside. And that's when he's like, nope. No, I'm not going. You can't make me. So he tried to get back in the car, but my mom locked it. And she locked him out of the car. And she's like, you don't have a choice. You're going inside. You're not getting back in the van. And he started singing at that moment. He just started singing some weird song he had made up. And, he's howling as he's singing. He's like, oh, I feel so good. He is just like, he's being really loud. And, of course, all of this, they could hear him from the inside the mental hospital, and so they all came out, and the staff came out, and they circled around him in the mental hospital parking lot. They circled around him, and they finally like coaxed him to go inside. But that's another part of the video that you see is
You're looking at a cadaver, okay? You're just seeing a cadaver. We got tons of them, all right? There's a spirit talking to you here. I like to have a smoke after sex, and I've been having sex with God non-stop, okay? I'm his bride. We are his bride, all right? The marriage of the Lamb is here. We've been married, all right? He's marrying us. The word for today is cling.
he's standing there outside the van. My mom has locked him out of the van. He's standing there, and he goes on some rant about how he's in a I don't even want to repeat it. He's got an inappropriate relationship with the Almighty, apparently. They got him inside, and I remember my mom called my aunt again from inside the mental hospital and kind of updated her. We got him to the mental hospital, and that's when my aunt told her, you know, I heard about the river. I went down to the river, and I found the dog, and thankfully Moose was still alive. He had survived the drowning, and my dad was in the mental hospital for a while. He got out again, and unfortunately about 6 months after that, he did end up being successful in ending Moose's life, but that's a whole other story. But that video, that was the last time I was allowed to live with my dad. I was almost 10 years old, and my dad lived for about another year after. And now I've just written a book all about that experience and many more. And so I'm starting to share those stories on here, hoping that you and others will see these stories and want to hear my whole story. So check out my book now on Amazon.